What's going on, guys? Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you the battle for Week 4 of Season 2 of the UBL, and this week we are up against Knightor and his Death Valley Houndooms. And before I get into the team, just a reminder that if you guys like this video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, click that subscribe button, helps us out a ton, and let's do more cool stuff for you guys. And also feel free to check out the TTM Discord that will be linked in the description, and also check out Knightor's channel that will be linked in the description below as well. And finally, before I truly get into the team, big shout outs to Otto, who genned for me this week, and then also for Danza for recording this game and doing his usual magic for making it high quality for not being able to just record it directly from my screen. So thank you to both of those guys, and hopefully I'll be able to gen for myself in the future games, so crossing my fingers on that one. But either way, onto the team. Like I said, we are up against Knightor and his Death Valley Houndooms, and his team is composed of Latios, Reuniclus, Crocodile, Primarina, Registeel, Armaldo, Mega Venusaur, Porygon 2, Galvantula, Mienshao, Blaziken, and he has the Steel Z Crystal. So really, I'm not thinking that anything on his team particularly would use the Steelium Z in this matchup, because, I mean, I could see that maybe for like a, I don't know, like a Z Iron Tail from Latios in a matchup where it's like very heavy, or a Z Iron Tail from like Crocodile. But in this matchup, I'm really not thinking that Z Iron Tail will be something that he brings, so really just not worried about Z Crystals too much in this matchup. But his team, really just kind of annoying, all things considered. I mean, like, I definitely think that I have the threats to be able to take him on, but I don't have anything that can just straight up like sweep through him super easily. I mean, even +2 from like Thundurus and Scolipede, he still has Mons that are able to take hits from those guys or outspeed in the case of Thundurus. So it's just going to be a matter of wearing his team down and just having switch-ins to the annoying stuff that he does have. So once again, gonna be, like I always say, or like I say every week, for this season anyway, going through the team a little bit quicker than I normally do, just because trying out the shorter team builders and seeing how you guys like those. But yeah, let's just go ahead and jump right on into what I am bringing. First mon I am bringing is a Spadef, Taunt, Roost, Superfang, U-Turn, Mew. And really just very Spadef leftovers, because I really don't need, like, Cobra Berry. Crocodile is handled by other mons on my team. Plus, I can take anything that's not a banded knockoff from Crook anyway, so it's not the worst thing in the world if Mew does get knocked off. But this Mew is designed to take on all of his special threats, as his team is very special heavy, whether that's, I mean, that's Latios, Reuniclus, Primarina, Mega Venusaur, Porygon 2, Galvantula. All those are his big special threats. So having Mew just be able to come in, wall those things, wear down his entire team, as he doesn't have a ghost type, with Superfang guaranteed, is really nice. And then Taunt also shuts down his fat, like Reuniclus that tries to set up a Registeel in particular, because Registeel is super annoying for me to deal with. So being able to taunt that thing and wear it down with Superfang is very nice. And then just Roost and U-Turn, get some momentum, and also heal off damage with my Mew. So just very straightforward on that set. Wear him down, get momentum, deal with his special threats. Just the speed is enough speed for timid Primarina, just because that is something that, with the right move, can do a lot of damage to things on my team. So I want to, really, I just want to have an all-around switch into it. So this way, even if it is Specs Primarina, I can go into that with my Mew and take whatever hit, outspeed guaranteed, in either Roost or U-Turn, really whatever I decide to do against that thing, and then just throw the rest into special defense, and HP, just to take hits from his special stuff as well as possible. Next up, we have my physical wall in a physically defensive Swords Dance, Bullet Punch, U-Turn, Roost, Mega Scizor. And I mean, this set I've brought actually a multitude of times already this season, but that's just because Mega Scizor is very, like, straightforward in what it needs to do. It's like, okay, need it to be fat, and just Swords Dance, Bullet Punch, U-Turn, Roost is really all you need in a lot of situations. Haven't found myself needing knockoff or superpower too much this season. I have used it a couple times, but really just that's all the coverage I need is just a dual stab, just kind of a physical presence that can come in, keep me from being swept by Crocodile, and then U-Turn out, and then potentially late game, if Registeel is gone, I can Swords Dance and Bullet Punch through his team given the opportunity. The speed is enough to guarantee to outspeed, well, not guaranteed outspeed, but to speed creep Mega Venusaur. The speed is for 20 invested Mega Venusaur, and the Spadef is enough to avoid the 2-hit KO from Specs Latios with Shadow Ball after Rocks. I mean, Specs HP Fire still blows me away, but Specs Shadow Ball is very spammable against me, as my 2 specially defensive walls are weak to Ghost. So just another way of taking on the immediate threats that he does have, and then I can always like U-turn out, Bullet Punch, Roost, whatever, and then through the rest into HP and defense with 4 into attack to maximize my EVs. Next up, we have another specially defensive wall in Decidueye with Colbur Berry, Defog, Roost, U-turn, and Spirit Shackle, and I am not going to let Sticky Web screw me over the way it did last week. I know that it's kind of like over-prepping for it, as I do have, first of all, I have an Archeops that can prevent that, and I have Thundurus, which is immune to that, but still, I'm not letting that beat me. I'm not letting it catch me off guard and get me in a situation like last week, so I'm bringing Defog, and honestly, Decidueye, while I would like to have Leaf Blade over Defog, just Defog there is really all I need, as well as U-turn and Spirit Shackle just cover his team nicely. Roost is to Roost on up, and this gives me another way of dealing with his special threats of Latios, Reuniclus, and Primarina. This also eases prediction of switching, as I can just Spirit Shackle something, prevent him from doubling, and so I know that I can just send in something to deal with whatever he has active. The speed is the exact same speed stat as Scizor. Again, it's creeping a 20 speed Mega Venusaur, and then just maxed out Spadef and through, well, maxed out HP and threw the rest into Spadef to take the hits as well as possible. Next up, we have a Suicide Lead Stealth Rock, Taunt, Head Smash, Endeavor, Archeops, and that might seem weird with Defog on my team, but really, Stealth Rock are just nice for early pressure. Like, I don't need them to win. I really, really do not need Stealth Rock for certain damage calcs. It's just nice to be able to get them up, prevent Stealth Rock of his own, and then also Endeavor down something that allows my other stuff to revenge kill it, particularly the Registeel. If I can Endeavor down the Registeel, that will make this game a whole lot easier. Just standard lead set, Head Smash if he wants to try to defog on me. Went max speed because I can speed tie Latios at the very worst. And then this also prevents Sticky Web first turn from Galvantula, max attack, and 4 in HP just because this is my dedicated lead. Can hopefully go 1-for-1 with something while keeping up rocks, or while getting up rocks on my side and preventing rocks from my opponent. And now we have our 2 breakers. The first breaker is going to be surprise, surprise, Swords Dance Scolipede. Think I've brought that to literally every single game this season with Mega Horn, Earthquake, and Protect. This was, I really wanted like Poison Jab over Protect, but I realized that, okay, if I am relying completely on Scizor as my Crocodile check, then I need to have something to take on a Scarf Crocodile in the event that Scizor gets caught with like a crit Fire Fang or something like that, to where I'm not able to recover. Scolipede is able to soft check Crocodile. It's not able to come in on it, but it is able to come in, protect, and then guaranteed outspeed it. And then I decided on Mega Horn, Earthquake, Mega Horn, because it hits his team super, super hard, and I have the Bug Z, and then Earthquake for the Registeel, which is obviously the biggest thing stopping this. Also can one-hit KO Primarina, well, uninvested Primarina after, I think, Rocks, and then it takes a couple rounds of Rocks for Primarina, if it's max HP, to go down to a +2 Earthquake. And then the speed is just enough speed to guaranteed outspeed his Latios, and then just threw the rest into attack and 4 into Spadef, or 12 into Spadef rather, because I'm going to probably take a special hit more so than a physical hit while getting set up. And finally, we have a nasty plot, Thunderbolt, HP Flying, Focus Blast, Thundurus, just basically, along with Scolipede, just set up on something that wants to switch out and then just try to break a hole in his team for the other sweeper or the other breaker to finish off the game. Just really, I'm thinking that I'm going to finish the game with one break with the other. Just nice coverage against him. Thunderbolt hits his team very, very hard. HP Flying is for the Mega Venusaur, able to not knock that thing out at +2 after Rocks, even if it does have a good amount of Spadef, which is really cool. And then Focus Blast is for the Porygon 2. Also the Registeel, if it happens to be Spadef, but he's 100% running physically defensive Registeel in this matchup. And then also just Crocodile, if I don't have any boost up. The speed is enough for Crocodile. The HP is with, okay, so keep in mind, I do have 160, which is an even number. However, with Hyper Training, I will be at 161, so it is an odd HP number. And then just threw some into special attack, and then maximized my EVs in special defense and defense. So yeah, that's the team, and let's just go ahead and hop right on over to the battle. Alrighty, so here we are with the battle, and the first thing I'm noticing is that there is no Galvantulus, so we don't have to worry about sticky webs, and also no Mega Venusaur and no Porygon 2, so two of his fattest mons that I will not have to deal with, which is absolutely fantastic. But unfortunately, there is the Mienshao, which I really did not think would come, but nonetheless is a threat that I definitely have to scout out, figure out what set it is, and play accordingly. So yeah, like I said, just gonna lead off with my Archeops and let's hop right on into it. So I really wasn't sure what he would decide to lead as, I mean, I'm thinking, okay, Registeel makes sense, Mienshao if it's Scarfed makes sense, so I'm thinking it's one of those two. Either way I can get rocks up against them and then react accordingly, but he actually ends up leading with his Primarina, which I was like, huh, well, maybe this is like trying to anti-lead my Archeops, it's gonna scald me down, try to get a burn, and then if I don't get the, and then if he doesn't get the burn, then he can just potentially try to Aqua Jet before I'm able to Endeavor. So I am just going to go for my rocks, get them up as he brings me down to my Sash with Scald. Luckily does not get the burn, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe he has the Aqua Jet. Regardless, I'm not going to risk it. I am just going to switch right into my Decidueye, who can not only take the Aqua Jet, but can actually take whatever hit this Primarina wants to go for. Revealed not to be Specs or anything like that, so that is good to know, and actually not Life Orb or anything. So he goes for the Hidden Power, really not sure what it is, because I mean it didn't do a lot, not super effective, not very effective, or not very effective. So yeah, really no idea what this Primarina is. I U-turned expecting him to go for, or switch out, but yeah, he doesn't, just stays in. Mew is going to have to take a Moonblast, but I have a Spidef Mew. That's not a big deal at all. So yeah, I mean, now that Mew is in, I will just be able to go ahead and I could either Roost up or go for the Super Fang, just hitting something. I do decide that I want to go for the Super Fang. Whatever the Primarina wants to go for is not going to knock me out. Even like a crit Hydro Pump will not take me out from that range. So just going to go on the offense a little bit, wear down this Registeel, which is fantastic for my Scolipede. This is probably a physically defensive Registeel, but nonetheless, I do just want my Mew to try to wear this down. I'm going to go for the Taunt. He's revealed to have T-Wave. That completely makes sense. Registeel is going to be his way of taking on Scolipede, and the fact that he does have the Thunder Wave just all but confirms that this is a physically defensive Registeel, as, I mean, T-Wave is definitely for the Scolipede. And here I U-turn again, over-predicting. I was really thinking that he would try to switch out with his Registeel taunted, because I mean there's literally nothing he can do against Mew, but unfortunately he stays in. I go into my Thundurus thinking, okay, he's probably going to go for the Iron Head, but he actually ends up going for the Rock Slide, and I was like, oh my gosh, that just worked out so well for him. Really not sure why he decided to stay in with Registeel, as the attack would do nothing and I could just wear down the Registeel more for Scolipede, but nonetheless the play worked out for him, so there you go. But here, considering that Rock Slide did not, well, is not going to be a 2-hit KO, I am just able to Nasty Plot up and try to break through his team. Now, I will have to risk a Focus Blast, as I don't know for a fact that this is a physically defensive Registeel. I mean, it could definitely be specially defensive, as, I mean, I don't know the damage. I went for U-turn, but U-turn from an uninvested Mew against Registeel would do pitiful damage anyway. But now that his taunt is worn off, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go for the Focus Blast. It takes out the Registeel, even if it is specially defensive, and covers him trying to take advantage of a potential T-Bolt. Goes into Crocodile. If I can get rid of this, that's amazing, but I miss the Focus Blast. Now that really, really, really sucks. So first of all, Crocodile is still around, meaning I'm not able to spam Thunderbolt. Second of all, I have to get out of dodge because I don't want my Thundurus just going down immediately to a potential Scarf Crook. So gonna go into my Scizor, as there's no way he's gonna try to predict Fire Fang at this point, as he actually switches out into his Reuniclus, who ends up being Regenerator. So I'm like, huh, this is interesting. But either way, the fact that he switched out Crocodile reveals that that is not a Scarf set, so that is very, very good information to have. But seeing that this Reuniclus is in, there is literally zero way. I mean, there could, no, I don't think there's any way, even like a timid max speed. I guess potentially Choice Scarf Reuniclus could outspeed my Scizor. But either way, just going to go for the U-turn. Reuniclus will not be faster. And I'm going to go into my Decidueye, take like the HP Fire, whatever hit Reuniclus wants to go for, and I can just U-turn or Spirit Shackle, as he ends up going for the Reflect. So this was, yeah, I mean, he must have seen how well Reflect, well, I guess he couldn't have seen. But either way, 2 straight weeks in a row, people have brought Reflect against me, and I'm like, this is not that good, but what I can do at this point is just go for a Spirit Shackle, force something to stay in. Whatever he wants to go in, I can deal with it accordingly. Goes into the Latios. He goes into his Latios hard, as I am just going to be able to Spirit Shackle that thing. Not quite a 2-hit KO, unfortunately, but knowing that I am a Spadef Decidueye, nothing he does can KO me, so I'm just going to Roost up, scout out, see what type of set this Latios is, as it turns out to not be Specs, not be Life Orb, just goes for Ice Beam, and I am able to take that very nicely and just Roost back up. So at this point, I'm thinking, okay, I think I'm just gonna try to play with fire a little bit. I'm gonna stay in and try to Roost stall this Reflect, because Latios is trapped. It cannot switch out. Spirit Shackle is wonderful in that way. So because he is trapped in with me, I will just be able to continually Roost, and eventually I will be able to go for a U-turn to knock him out. I mean, I am net gaining health off of the Ice Beam from Latios. I mean, it looks like it does right around 50, and if not maybe a little bit less. So it might just be a roll to regain health or not. But at this point, the Reflect has worn off. I will be able to take one last Ice Beam, have not gotten frozen yet, very luckily, and I don't get frozen on this turn, so I am going to be able to U-turn out and actually KO the Latios. So that is huge for me. Latios was a very, very big threat. Super glad to get rid of that. Decidueye came through absolutely clutch in the early game, getting rid of Latios, and yeah, now I'm in a great spot. So because I killed it with U-turn, I'm actually going to go into my Thundurus just to get a little bit more leftovers recovery. I mean, there was really no reason behind switching into Thundurus because I had no Mon that I wanted to go into immediately. I just figured that, okay, Thundurus is going to be my way of switching in, getting some lefties, and maybe able to take a Rock Slide later in the game. Since he goes into Mienshao, I'm like, okay, this is going to go for a Stone Edge or a Rock Slide. I'm just going to go into my defensive Mega Scizor, take the Rock Slide. Turns out to be banded, so I'm like, oh my gosh, this Mienshao hits very hard. And I am going to U-turn again, thinking that, okay, he saw that Mienshao did nothing. He's probably going to try to get in Registeel to Rocks Up, but ends up staying in once again, and I was very confused by that, but I mean, like, he's taking advantage of me over-predicting, and it's working out. But at this point, now that I know that it is Choice Banded, I'm going to go into my Archeops, bring this Mienshao down to 1 HP so that it can just easily be picked off by Bullet Punch and go from there. I actually avoid the Rock Slide. I mean, a little bit of justice for missing the Focus Blast, but now that he did miss the Rock Slide, I'm going to go into my Mew, as it can actually take 2 Choice Banded Rock Slides, and I will be able to Roost up, especially with my leftovers. So I'm in a good spot, all things considered, especially the fact that my Archeops is still alive, which I absolutely love, but he does double into his Reuniclus. I guess he was expecting me to just knock out the Mienshao with the Archeops, but I'm thinking, nah, my Archeops outspeeds his entire team. I will be able to knock something else down to 1 HP with Endeavor, and that would work out wonderfully. So I made a little bit of a safe play. I mean, I wanted to make the aggressive play, go for the U-turn on the incoming Crook, but I decided that, you know what, it's not worth having to deal with Reflect again. I'm just going to taunt whatever he goes into. Even if he goes into Crook, then if it's running Stealth Rock, it can't go for it. And at this point, I know that I just let Mew take a big knockoff, which is pretty big, all things considered. I knew that Mew would be able to take anything that wasn't a Banded or a Life Orb knockoff, and even if he did knock me out, at that point, I still had my Spadef Decidueye to take on Reuniclus and Primarina, so I wasn't overly worried. It was kind of a calculated risk, but I will be able to go into my Archeops right here, bring the Crocodile down to 1 HP as well. So now, Crocodile and Mienshao are both at 1 HP, although Mienshao does have Regenerator, and he does reveal to be a Moxie Crocodile. But the fact that he switched up moves means that he's not choice locked. This is a perfect opportunity to go into my Scolipede, just take a knockout on the Crocodile, and then pressure him. So okay, so the reason I went into Crocodile as opposed to like Scizor or something like that is this forces in the Registeel. He could very easily go into Mienshao if I knocked it out with Thundurus. He could go into Primarina if I knocked it out with Scizor, but other than that, like nothing else would have outsped it, so that would have just been unnecessarily taking another hit. But yeah, this forces in the Registeel. I know that with the speed boosts that I'm gonna get, even if he paralyzes me, I will actually end up being faster than even Mienshao, because I know it's banded. So Scarf Mienshao is not a thing I have to worry about. Not 2-hit KO'd by Rock Slides. That is a very good thing to point out right there. And I am +2, so I will be able to Earthquake the Registeel, even though it's Vizdef, it won't be able to be knocked out, so I'm just going to go for the 2-hit KO at this point. But back to my point, because I know that Mienshao isn't scarfed, even if I'm paralyzed, because Para only have speed, with speed boosts from Scolipede, with the amount of speed boosts that I'm getting, even though I'm parried, I will still be able to outspeed everything on his team. So at this point, because I'm at +2, and Registeel is about to go down, as long as I don't get parried twice, I will be able to just clean up the game. So in these next 4 turns, I just cannot get parried twice, and Scolipede will be able to win the game. So unfortunately, I do get parried immediately, so it's like, okay, well, there's one para. Now I still have to go 4 turns without getting paralyzed, which unfortunately is not in my favor anymore, so I'm just trying to take things out as quickly and efficiently as I can. Like, just, okay, Scolipede is going to get paralyzed at some point. Let's see how much damage I can do, and if I actually don't get paralyzed for the rest of the game, I will be able to take everything out, as Primarina has already taken a decent amount of damage to where a Z Mega Hornet +2, even though it's not very effective, should be able to knock it out unless it's like Bold Primarina, but the damage that it did to Decidueye shows that it is max special attack, so at worst he could be max HP, which I will be able to take out with a +2 Savage Spin Out. But he goes into Mienshao, and this was a huge turn. Like, if Scolipede got paralyzed here, I was in a horrible spot, as Mienshao is actually really, really annoying for me to try to deal with, but luckily, Scolipede is able to break through, take out the Mienshao, and this is game right now. Even if Scolipede gets paralyzed, I still have Thundurus for Primarina, I have Mew and Decidueye for both Primarina and Reuniclus, and because Reuniclus showed that it has Reflect, it's obviously not a fully offensive set, so my Spadef Mew and Spadef Decidueye still will be able to take it out. Unfortunately, I do get parried on the turn that I go for the Savage Spin Out, so then Primarina is able to just take the hit, or not even take the hit. It doesn't have to take the hit, and it is able to take out my Scolipede. So very, very unfortunate right there. But now what this means is I have to go into my Mew and just kind of stall. Like, I'm not intentionally stalling, but the fact that Scolipede got parried twice, and the fact that I missed the Focus Blast on his Crocodile earlier to where Thundurus, I missed the Focus Blast on his Crocodile earlier to where Mew still had to take the knockoff, because if Mew hadn't taken that knockoff, I could have just gone into it. It would have been at actually pretty much full health, all but full health. I think I would have been like 3 HP below full, and just taken on this Primarina a lot easier with just Super Fang and wearing it down into U-turn range. But because I did have to take the hit, I'm being forced to Roost, just get my HP back, and also I don't have my leftovers, which is really not being... Oh, okay, so that's not a good thing that I don't have my leftovers. That would help a ton in terms of getting me even out of a crit Moonblast range. And so what I'm doing, getting back up to full, I also want to get my Decidueye back up to full, as if I have both Mew and Decidueye, well, not necessarily at full, but I mean just like one Moonblast away from full, which I am going to be at this point. But if I have both of those at high HP, there is no way that Reuniclus will be able to beat me. Like, if I have both of these Mons, Reuniclus cannot beat both of them in combination with Mega Scizor and Thundurus. So I am just playing to guarantee myself the game. Because of the unfortunate hacks earlier in the game, I am at a point where I'm like, okay, well, maybe I can lose to more crits or something like that. Just basically, I don't have the game guaranteed locked up, and I'm doing what I have to right now to guaranteed win the game. So when I switched into Decidueye, had he gone for a Moonblast, there's a very good possibility that that would have KO'd me. But actually, would have KO'd me considering how low I was, but I just decided to take that risk right there, because even if he had KO'd the Decidueye, what that meant is I could just bring in my Thundurus, go for a Thunderbolt, and potentially knock out this Primarina or like two-shot the Reuniclus. Just basically, it forced a KO on his end, to where, yeah, he would only have one Mon left, and then I still would have Mons that would be able to deal with all of them. So now that Decidueye's in, I'm doing exactly what I did with my Mew, roosting back up to where I will not be knocked out by a crit Moonblast, just so I can wear this thing down. And I intentionally did not go for more Super Fangs with Mew, because I didn't want to put Primarina in Torrent, because Torrent boosted Scalds are very, very annoying, and the less I have to deal with those, the better. So that was intentional that I did not put Primarina in Torrent range with my Mew, because then that, with a crit, when I'm not at as high of a health could potentially knock me out. And obviously that's not something I want. So yeah, now that Decidueye is just a Moonblast away from full, even a crit Moonblast at this range will not be able to knock me out. So I will be able to go for the Spirit Shackle and take out the Primarina and then eventually take out the Reuniclus, but unfortunately he does decide just to forfeit right there. So we are able to take the game 4-0. Unfortunate Focus Blast miss, but we were repaid a little bit with the Rock Slide miss from his Mienshao later in the game, and then the unfortunate pairs with Scolipede took it from a 5-0 to a 4-0, but still very happy with how we were able to bounce back after our very unfortunate performance last week. I felt that even when things didn't go my way because of RNG, I did not get tilted. I still made my best plays possible, and we were able to come out with a 4-0 victory. So solid bounce back week, good game, Knightor, and yeah, hope you guys enjoyed watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And this is Styx, signing out. Why not? See you guys.